Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Is the appointment of Amit Shah as the new president of the BJP a wise decision or a grave risk? Equally importantly, does it strengthen the hold of Narendra Modi and complete what is now often called the modification of his party? Joining me to answer those questions is the editor-in-chief of the India Today group, Shekhar Gupta, the chairman of APCA, Badshah Sen, the well-known author and columnist Ajoy Bose, and the political editor of Open magazine, Hartosh Singh Bal. Shekhar Gupta, a wise choice or a risky one? Or both?
Well, the most obvious choice, because what you're seeing right now is not the rise of Amit Shah. What you're seeing right now is Narendra Modi taking over the party after taking over the government. So it's the same model as the Congress party's old model. Indira Gandhi as party president and prime minister, Rajiv Gandhi as party president and prime minister, Narasimha Rao as party president and prime minister, except in this case, instead of having him there, he has somebody who entirely owes his position, authority, everything that he has in life, politically, in public life, to Narendra Modi. So basically, this is Narendra Modi's takeover of the party, and I think the party has accepted it. This is as clear a statement as you could see, and we had it coming. There was no doubt, I think from the day he was nominated prime ministerial candidate, it was evident that if he wins even a reasonable victory, as it turned out, he's won quite a stunning victory, then he will take over the party. So this is a Modi takeover of the BJP.
Badshah Sen, I'll pursue in a moment this claim, and it's probably a very correct claim, that this is in fact an assertion of Narendra Modi's power and this is the modification of the party. But for a moment, let me concentrate on the fact that Amit Shah faces 3 murder charges. He served several months in jail. He was even for a while externed from Gujarat by the Supreme Court. Now, he's not guilty as yet, and his guilt may never be proved. He may well turn out to be innocent. But should a man with this background and with these question marks hanging over his head be made the president of the ruling party?
Well, Karan, this question should have been raised when he was made General Secretary. I mean, General Secretary may not be as important as party president, but he was made General Secretary without much of a fuss, put in charge of an important place called UP, got a huge victory for the BJP. All of this point of time, these questions were not raised.
So it's too late to raise it now.
I think we then, therefore, by and large, people are prepared to wait and see whether the allegations stick or whether he'll be freed. I mean, the charges, as far as I know, haven't been framed as yet. And this question didn't arise until now. So I don't think that the BJP is taking too much of a risk.
The charges surely would have been framed. He's actually been in jail for a while. He's out on bail.
Then there was the CBI. There's been some confusion now on that as far as the courts are concerned. He was in jail. He was released. And then I think the CBI has to present some part of the case to the court.
Let me put it like this. There is a fair point that Badshah Sen makes, that if this question about his suitability was to be raised, it should have been raised when he was made General Secretary. If it wasn't raised then, it's pointless to raise it now. On the other hand, there is a view that making him president is either a calculated snub to the judicial system, and what you're saying to the judicial system is, we don't care about the inquiries you make and the process you go through, or at the very least, it is a calculated snub to conventional morality, which says that Caesar's wife must always be above suspicion, and certainly in this incident, Caesar, if that's the BJP president, is not above suspicion.
Isn't, Karan, to expect Narendra Modi to worry about what the judiciary thinks, I think it's quite silly, frankly, because I think there were a lot of charges against Mr. Modi himself. There's a huge sort of, campaign, and some of the statements by the Supreme Court, by various courts, have not been all that complimentary about Mr. Modi in the past.
But Mr. Modi doesn't face accusations of murder.
But
he hasn't been in jail.
There is no criminal charge.
No, there's no criminal charge against him.
Fair.
But at the same time, I don't see in any way legally anything to stop Mr. Amit Shah to become president of the party.
What about morally? About morally?
But that's what I'm saying, that morally, I don't think that Mr. Modi is at all bothered about this. He is looking at Mr. Amit Shah as a weapon. He's used Amit Shah again and again and again in the past, and pretty successfully, and the latest being the spectacular results in Uttar Pradesh. So I don't think that this worries Mr. Modi at all. This whole thing about that there is a criminal charge against him, and this doesn't even, I don't think he wastes a second on it.
Hartosh Simbal, let me put it like this, and I'm going to quote the BJP manifesto to you. This is what the manifesto says. The biggest challenge that India faces today is to restore the credibility and trust in the union government. And what the manifesto clearly had in mind was the people's faith in the government, in its sincerity, in its integrity. Is that sentence undermined or at least eroded by making Amit Shah party president? Or am I overinterpreting the situation, and do your views agree with those of Ajay Bose and Badshah Sen?
Look, for me personally, it strongly undermines that claim. I react as a citizen of this country. I am not reading Modi's mind or the BJP's mind. What I'm seeing is that after a major electoral victory, the party that runs this government has consciously chosen as its president, whether with the backing of Narendra Modi, a person who faces serious criminal charges, who has a very dubious record on issues of surveillance in a state without any authorization, who has been externed from a state. As a citizen of this country, it leaves me very worried about where we are headed, what is the message being sent out, and how a certain part of this country, including minorities of all shades, I am not saying as Muslims, I've been in Punjab to know there are apprehensions there as well. You can ask Christians who have apprehensions. What is the message this party is sending out to much of this country?
Do you want to answer your question yourself? What do you believe the message is? A quick answer.
The message is quite clear. We don't care what you think.
We don't care what you think. All right. A second aspect of Mr. Shah becoming party president is the fact that he's a master strategist. He's clearly the architect of the 282 seats they won altogether in the Lok Sabha, even more so of the 71 that they astoundingly won in UP. And the party faces critical elections, starting with Maharashtra, starting with Haryana. They want to win those. With that in mind, is this not just the right move, but the obvious move for the BJP?
Well, frankly, they had no choice, as I said a little bit earlier. He now has a track record. You know, he has problems. His CV is sort of colorful, right? To put it mildly. But he now has a real political achievement, and this is an achievement no BJP president can boast of anything remotely comparable, except Mr. Advani in a certain phase in the 90s. Right? And he has done it not as party president, he's just done it as somebody who was in charge of the party in one state. So you can see in him not just as an election manager, but as somebody who can strike up alliances. He's finding Apna Dal, for example, a brilliant idea. Or the BJP not going with the usual suspect, Ajit Singh in Western UP.
And also the clever way he chose candidates for UP. He chose them from all the communities in a carefully calculated way.
Absolutely, and in a way, he helped Narendra Modi break out of the upper caste stranglehold in Uttar Pradesh. So all the old Brahmin leaders, from Murli Manohar Joshi to Kalraj Mishra, who used to hold sway there, they were either sidelined or they were left to fend for themselves. So he has shown a certain masterful quality to his politics, but remember, that is all when he gets a blank check, carte blanche, whatever you call it, from Narendra Modi. So he is Narendra Modi's implementer, right? So you have a situation now where the party president is Narendra Modi's #1 implementer. He's not there for his long track record of service in the party. You haven't seen him that much in public life or holding government office. Yet he's not a nobody like Janak Krishnamurthy or Bangaru Lakshman or one of those characters. He's a real party president. But he's a real party president who, unlike say Advani to Vajpayee, will not have an equation with the Prime Minister. He can look the Prime Minister in the eye and say, look, this is right, this is wrong, the party doesn't want it, this is not good for the party. He will take his instructions from the Prime Minister.
And fulfill them completely.
Yes, Mr. Advani never took his instructions from Mr. Vajpayee.
What therefore follows is that Mr. Modi is going to become, as Indira Gandhi was, as Rajiv Gandhi was, as even Narasimha Rao in the beginning was, an extremely powerful Prime Minister who not only controls his government without demur and without check and challenge, but who now, through his lieutenant, controls his party. Is that a situation that causes you any concern?
Look, I mean, I'm going to set aside my personal concerns. I'd rather we sort of look at it as I see it's happening.
I meant your analytical rather than your
by the
personal
way,
concerns.
what I meant, and I just checked, the charge sheet has been filed, but the court hasn't framed the charges yet. That's,
So there is a distinction.
There's a distinction, yes. So as far as this is concerned, look, from whatever I know, Mr. Shah has a mind of his own. It's not as if he's pure puppet. When, for instance, Narendra Modi was cozying up to Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal, it was Amit Shah who stopped him from doing so, saying that, look, this is where, so there is the exigent, now they'll increasingly...
So the advice goes both ways?
Both ways. And the exigencies of running a government, which is what Modi is going to do, is very far different from the exigencies of running a political party, which is what Amit Shah will expect to do. And people will expect delivery, at least people from within. The BJP, Sangh Parivar will expect delivery from both. And there may well be areas of conflict.
And frankly, it's a party in which, in the course of time, impatience will rise.
Yes.
Because in the party, people will see Mr. Modi as becoming more and more powerful. So whether it's Shivraj Singh Chauhan or Vasundhara or Raman Singh, I think a lot of people will see that now they've hit the glass ceiling. So in any political party, people want to see movement. So 6 months from now, there will be challenges.
In fact, Karan, I'd like to elaborate on that, because I think what would be interesting to see, the BJP is not the Congress. The BJP has had a tradition of a fair amount of freedom for leaders to grow. Now, this is the first time we are looking at a situation where, as Shekhar says, the ceiling is suddenly there. You really, these people realize that they're much like the Congress now. It's a Modi party. And Modi just chooses a few people, his little coterie, which he decides. Now, this is a problem within the party, because this is a party which is not used to that. Interesting to see how they react. Secondly, it will be interesting to see how the allies.
Can I stop you there? Appointing Amit Shah to this position will exacerbate those frustrations, not appease them.
Certainly.
So, in a sense, he's bringing the problem to the body.
Certainly. But
one reason Modi has won power so stunningly is also that many chief ministers delivered almost all the seats in their states. So, in this Modi-Amit Shah situation, how much space do they get in the management of the party affairs?
Okay.
And I was going to say that the allies, now Maharashtra elections are coming up. The Sena has already had a very troubled relationship with the BJP. Interesting to see how Uddhav Thackeray, reacts to Amit Shah.
And Amit Shah may well push for the line that BJP cadres want, which is fight independently.
Shah might choose a very muscular BJP in Maharashtra, which the Sena may not.
You're suggesting, therefore, that in fact Amit Shah could threaten some of the traditional alliances, or at least begin to bring friction. What do you think, Hartosh Singh Bal, this means vis-a-vis the BJP's critical relationship with the RSS? The papers today are claiming that Amit Shah has the full endorsement and support of the RSS, which would suggest that the RSS hopes that in fact their power and the influence will grow. But on the other hand, it is true that while Mr. Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat, he kept the RSS, the VHP, and particularly people like Praveen Togaj at arm's length. So could Mr. Amit Shah do that for him in Delhi as well? What do you think will be that relationship?
Look, clearly in Gujarat, while he did keep a Togadia at arm's length, he was always close to Mohan Bhagwat. He was close to the central leadership of the RSS, and that relationship has continued. Despite that, I think there were differences within the RSS and within the party where it doesn't matter. Modi is already overridden the party. He's already done that in the selection of candidates for this election. But there were some rumblings within the RSS. There were other names being suggested. But I think in the end, the leadership has come around to the view that they have no choice but to back Narendra Modi in the same way that they had been backing him before.
So are you suggesting the RSS has reluctantly endorsed this rather than willingly wanted it?
Absolutely. I don't think the RSS is, in its essence, absolutely comfortable with the kind of absolute control Modi is going to exercise over the party now.
They just have no choice. Where does this leave people like L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi? We talked about the glass ceiling. They're clearly on the other side of the glass ceiling. But have they begun to realize that they don't really have a future in the BJP? They'll get respect, but that's about it.
I think that they should be quite grateful for that respect, because this group I mean, they will treat them with respect, but not if they become a nuisance in any way, directly, indirectly, through whispers, public statements, tweets, blogs. I think there's going to be zero tolerance for that. All of us learn to be very tolerant of older people, parents, grandparents and our families, and in the hope that our children and grandchildren also will be. But in politics, as in real life, you should not push it.
Okay, that's very neatly put. What does Amit Shah becoming president of the BJP mean for Congress? Because now the Congress faces a government under a strong, assertive Prime Minister. They face the BJP under a strong, assertive leader who's also a master strategist. Has the challenge Rahul Gandhi has to take on become even more daunting today?
Yes, well, I suggest that I would, again, we journalists give free advice even when not uncalled for. I suggest that Rahul Gandhi shouldn't face this challenge altogether. I've been saying that for some time. They need to find an
You mean cut and run?
Well, do something else.
Fall asleep in Parliament for longer.
Exactly what. The other point I just want to make very quickly is that interestingly, the RSS, probably aware of problems, has inserted Ram Madhav in there 2-3 days ago. He's an extremely important RSS guy. He has been their spokesperson of the RSS since 2003. So I think there will be some movement from the RSS towards the party because they are quite aware of prospects of Modi Amit Shah tie-up. Amit Shah himself is being described, one can see, as like a chief executive of a party, more than just a president. I mean, the systems he has followed.
You're seeing Modi as the proprietor?
Well, let's say as the chairman of the board, perhaps, you know. They have followed.
You know the board members? Please tell us.
Well, maybe a few general secretaries, yes men, perhaps. But he's followed this, and he's followed this from 1999 in Gujarat. They broke the back of the Patels in the cooperative movement in Gujarat. He's a Baniya, Modi's an OBC. Where are the Patels? And they've done...
Whose backs are in danger now?
Well, that's the point.
Anandi Ben, Saurabh.
Well, they're there. They're there.
Let me bring you in and put this.
They're there.
I'm trying to look at different aspects of what could be affected by Amit Shah becoming the head of the BJP. Where does Snoopgate stand? I know that the central government's commission of inquiry has fallen by the wayside. It simply didn't happen. But there is still a commission of inquiry under a former judge in Gujarat. It's just been given an extension. It's going to carry on for another 3 months. Is there any likelihood that that commission of inquiry could come up with an adverse judgment?
Well, you know, I doubt it. And in any case, I don't think Amit Shah's appointment has very much to do with it. But, you know, Karan, I'd like to return to the RSS question. And I think that the RSS has got this historic opportunity. I think he realizes that, you know, with this kind of government, this kind of majority, I don't think the RSS will let it go. As long as Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah's agenda is the same as the RSS, it's fine. But if it's not, and there are likely to be differences in the future, it will be interesting to see how the RSS reacts, because it's a very delicate balance of power. As far as all these other commissions, this, that and the other, listen, the fact of the matter today is that Modi is very strong at the moment. Yes, maybe at a future date, once he stumbles, once he falters, the BJP starts losing a few assembly elections, then things may change. We've seen how invincible leaders like Rajiv Gandhi, after that huge 400 plus, how quickly things change. So, you know, we're right talking now. But the question is that today I don't see really any challenge to either Amit Shah's authority or or Narendra Modi's authority.
Hartosh Singhwal, one of the things that Amit Shah becoming the new president of the BJP will do is to make the cadres of the party very happy. He was a man who had a very close relationship with them. It said that he knew virtually all the names of the party workers in UP, literally down to their first names. Apart from the fact that this will give an already confident party a great boost, but do you think he's likely to restructure the BJP, and the functioning of the BJP will now become very different to what we got used to over the last decade, and particularly during the famous Atal Bihari Vajpayee Kedwani years? Will we see major differences in the operation of the BJP under this master strategist?
Look, whatever I can understand from what we have seen of Gujarat, Amit Shah reflects some of Modi's personality in the kind of centralization he brings. At the same time, he has the ability to energize the cadres. I think you will see him build upon the expansion of the BJP's votes in states where the BJP didn't exist. as I think Ajoy was saying, you will see a more muscular BJP on the ground, and at the center, you will see the same lack of dissent that marks Modi's governance, the same lack of questioning from within the party that you see in the government with Narendra Modi in charge.
Where does this leave dissent in the BJP? I'll put that to you first and then to you. What, for instance, will be the thought going through Sushma Swaraj this morning when she found out that Amit Shah is going to be the next president and that Modi is going to therefore dominate government and party? What do people like her think?
Well, whatever thoughts are going on in her mind, I can tell you she'll not be sharing them with anybody today and for some time. But look, politics has its own dynamic. This is a political party. 6 months from now, it could be a very different situation. You know, I sometimes like to say that, you know, when people go for swearing in ceremonies and they see governments chosen with huge majorities, and what will happen now, this will be a one-man government or one-party government. I tell people, look, 6 months from swearing in, every government is a government. Now, because this is a Modi government, maybe not 6 months, but maybe 12, maybe 18, because politics is a competitive profession. In all kinds of political situations, even in Odisha, where Naveen Patnaik has such a hold on his party, dissent did emerge.
And while he was in London?
While he was in London, and it's a different matter that he squashed it. But the fact is that dissent did emerge. Dissent emerged in Rajiv Gandhi's government when he had a majority of 415, right? The Young Turks dissented against the great Indira Gandhi. So these things happen.
Will dissent look and wait for the first serious problem to hit Modi, for the first serious stumble? Is that when people will look to strike?
Well,
a quick answer.
Yeah. The dissent can happen on 2 counts, and it will happen in 2 counts. One is ideology. There can be from the right within the organization a dissent in the shape of where's the temple,
and the second,
and the second dissent will be within the government. When you slip, there will be people within the government. There will be the Sushma Swaraj. There will be the chief ministers who will say, "Up, he slipped," and and that's when the governmental dissent will start. So there will be dissent from on two scores.
Will Amit Shah be helpful in trying to contain and control that dissent when it happens? Is that a second virtue? A quick answer, because we're out of time.
Well, absolutely. I think that he will try and crush all dissent. But don't think of dissent at the center only. I think the state chief ministers of BJP may be where to look at. Because Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Raman Singh, Vasundhara Sindhe, these people will certainly be threatened by this kind of powerful party leader.
So the man you call the implementer could end up becoming the hatchet man as well. Depending upon the circumstances, he could be playing different roles. A man for all seasons.
If I could just add something, I think dissent will begin when Modi makes his first mistake.
Absolutely.
Because
the party,
a lot of people are watching.
And journalists are both watching. Let's be fair to ourselves. We look for mistakes, don't we?
Absolutely.
My thanks to all 3 of you for coming to studio. My thanks also to Hardosh for joining us. And if you have been, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.